Welcome to Innovation in Education. I'm Dr. Tony Rail Sutherland. Innovation in education can mean different things to different people, but here at Houston Community College, we see it as opportunities to improve how we educate our students by trying new endeavors to motivate students to want to get more engaged in the learning process and relate the subject matter to their own life. In doing so, we have found that there are many issues to consider for improving the teaching and learning process in higher education that many might not be aware of. One of those issues is food insecurities for our college students. Unfortunately, it is a subject matter that does not get enough attention. It is a global concern for all college students. Here's what some students at the University of California are saying about it.
Food insecurity means not having the financial resources to access a nutritious and balanced diet. The types of questions that we ask students on our campus to evaluate food insecurity, which are based off of the USDA modules, are things like, how often were you worried that your paycheck would run out before you got money to buy more food? And how often did you skip meals because you didn't have money to buy food?
So for the average student, food insecurity might actually just mean eating ramen and pizza for an entire week, just to save on some money. They might not consider themselves food insecure, but the fact that they're not being able to have that access to fresh produce and meals does make them food insecure.
Students' academic success is suffering due to food insecurity.
So being hungry could actually lead to a lot of other issues that people might not even realize. This includes mental wellness, physical wellness, even academic success.
Among students, there is a stigma around talking about food insecurity and using resources like the AS Food Bank and CalFresh, both on the side of the embarrassment around using resources like food stamps and the food bank, but also around thinking that maybe you're taking the resource away from other students.
For college students especially, being food insecure is never really talked about, which leads to a lot of stigma among students.
So what I would want students to know is that they're not taking the resource away from anybody else. Even though there might be students who are more hungry than them, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be using these resources. And I also think that it can be really empowering to start to have conversations around student food insecurity.
Structurally, a lot of things have to change in order to prevent students from becoming food insecure while at college campuses.
Houston Community College is addressing the issue of food insecurity with our students. We're going to look at this issue in our next segment. So stay with us as we check out several ways students are getting help right now and what is being planned for the future. We'll be right back.
When I grow up, I want to work in a lab to build robots.
From classroom to career, we're with you every step. Register for real-world education at hccs.edu.
Welcome back to Innovation in Education. I'm Dr. Tony Rail Sutherland. As we said earlier, we're going to look at what HCC is doing to help students with food insecurity. In this segment, we will talk with Dr. Manaz Kalani, Director of Counseling and Ability Services at HCC, and Sarah Lewis, Associate Dean of Student Engagement and Success. Then we'll visit with some of our partners at the Houston Food Bank who have been a great help in servicing our students. So let's start with Dr. Manaz. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, now, the subject of food insecurities for college students has been around for a long time, but still a lot of people don't seem to realize that it's still an issue. Why is that so, do you think?
You're absolutely right in terms of the fact that the subject of food insecurity has been getting a lot of attention in recent years. But I would say that most people may assume that it's limited to certain type of schools, certain parts of the country, or certain demographics. But as we see now, research, a large body of research shows that institutions, regardless of the type of, whether they're a 2-year or 4-year or where they're located studied in the country, they are dealing with a lot of students who report having food insecurities or housing insecurities. Actually, our own data, the last survey that we did in 2024 shows that over 60% of our students report having experienced either food insecurities or housing insecurities or any other type of stressors that impact their daily living as well as their academic performance.
Some students don't even recognize that they are food insecure. Why is that?
Well, I would say a lot of times it depends on the fact that how we describe it. We normally in our daily living don't say that we are food insecure, but if we break it down and ask the students if they worry about where their next food comes from, or just looking at their lifestyle, we know that a lot of our students work not because it's an extra money for something fun, but it's extra money that contributes to the family income. And without that, the livelihood of the entire family is at stake. And I think when we talk about retention, we see that there is a robust body of research out there that explores and tries to describe and predict students' retention from different variety of framework. We also know, particularly with students who are considered untraditional, non-traditional students, those external factors are extremely important in their ability to stay in school and being able to finish.
I know that, if you're healthier, you're going to do better academically. What are some, HCC has been working on this for some time. So the overall picture, what are we doing holistically to help students?
Very good question. We do a lot. And I think it starts from the moment that a student come in. It's the bottom line is, first of all, to make the student feel welcome and letting them know that they belong, that they belong here. There's a place for them here. And also, again, breaking down that retention and communicate with the student that they're not alone. When they are here, we understand that education still remains to be the most reliable sort of means of gaining academic and socioeconomical independence. So we do offer a variety of services in terms of whether it's mental health services to help students if they're dealing with depression or anxiety. We address their food insecurities. We are, as Sarah is going to explain, this is really about taking the shame and stigma out of it.
Well, I want to talk to Dr. or Sarah Lewis also about this. She's going to tell us a little bit about some of the specific things that HCC has been doing with the Eagle markets and all the other things. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Tony. Thanks for inviting us.
So what are some of the things that HCC is offering the students?
Mm-hmm. So as Dr. Kalani alluded to, we have a variety of different resources available to students. We have the Eagle Markets. Our Eagle Markets are a partnership with Helping Hands in Houston, where we can provide household items, non-perishable food items, school supplies, personal hygiene products. And then we also have our Food Scholarship and Community Health Market trailers. The Food Scholarship, and we call it a Houston Food Bank, and they'll talk about this more. We've gotten away from using the term food pantry, just for the connotations of that. And so for the Food Scholarship, students sign up. The only requirement is that they're enrolled at HCC, and they're able to get a considerable amount of food every month, every week, from our campuses. We have Food Scholarship at almost all of our campuses of HCC. And we also provide in the Eagle Markets, we have other items, and we'll share our food with them, so that the campus that doesn't have Food Scholarship or have food items, we'll share that with them.
That is so wonderful. Now, I want to add on to our conversation here, Scott Murphy and Vanessa Ortiz, and they are from the Houston Food Bank. Welcome to the show also.
Thank you so much.
Well, now tell me how, why, and when did the post-secondary partnerships begin?
Back in 2017, the Houston Food Bank had established our Food for Change initiative. which was developed to use food as a catalyst with our higher education and economic mobility partners to help individuals improve their quality of life. And with this initiative in mind, the Food Scholarship Program was created for students when they commit to completing a certificate or degree program that can improve their economic outcomes. And so once participants enroll, they can visit a participating site known as a Food for Change market at least twice a month and receive up to 120 pounds of free nutritious food.
Wow.
And currently, an FFC market can take several forms, as mentioned before. It can be a brick and mortar physical location. It could be a mobile distribution or a market trailer.
And it's not just food. There's other things that you guys help with, right?
Yes, besides providing food, the Houston Food Bank supports our markets at HCC through its nutrition education program. So this initiative offers HCC access to food insecurity training, to healthy recipes for students to try. We can offer live cooking demonstrations using foods that are typically found in FFC markets, and also signage with nudges, which are educational nutrition facts that ensure that our community not only has food, but has the knowledge to make nutritious choices.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Well, we're running out of time. Otherwise, we would spend more time talking to all of you guys. But thank y'all so much for being on the show and helping us understand a little bit more about food insecurity and how we can help.
Thank you for having us.
Now, it is time to go to a fun segment we planned for you about a project that our early high school students are participating in. They are part of an Earth Club learning about planting food and creating beautiful water gardens. So stay with us.
When I grow up, I want to work in a hospital.
From classroom to career, we're with you every step. Register for real-world education at hccs.edu.
Welcome back to Innovation in Education. I'm Dr. Tony Rayos Sutherland. In this segment, we went to HCC's West Houston Institute. Now, we recorded high school students taking HCC college classes. They're also part of an Earth Club and are learning about building different types of gardens and how chemistry plays a big part in the success of a garden. Let's check it out.
Our main purpose at Earth Club is to kind of help promote and bring awareness about environmental changes that are going on currently in society by providing volunteering activities to the students. I wanted to kind of help promote awareness about what's going on in society. I feel like not much is talked about, and what it is usually just repetitive, and not many students ever get the volunteering opportunity to ever go out and try helping in society. So I thought, why not bring these volunteering opportunities to the students by going to maybe their local garden center at their community, or maybe going to a school and helping out there.
This project reflects something that we've done every year, which is where we've worked with an outside partner to bring a real world perspective to what we were doing. And so this year we challenged the teachers and the students to look at the UN sustainability goals, the global goals, and to identify goals that resonated with them, and then to seek out a project that would be able to help them to go deeper into that global goal. And so we worked with Dr. Chen and the Earth Club on this project with the Urban Harvest Group, which is here in Houston. And they came out, they support community gardens at schools and in neighborhoods all over Houston. They do a lot of other work in programming. One of the things they're really excited about is permaculture, which stands for permanent culture. And that reflects not just gardening, but also how you live your life, how you interact with the environment. And so it really offered, I think, something that excited the students. And they were able to listen to experts from Urban Harvest who came out and talked to them. And from that came this idea for this garden. And so I'm really appreciative of their support as well, because that really gives us that real world perspective. And that brings a whole nother dimension. Everybody gets excited. It's a real thing that we're doing. And so I think that's just, we want to be able to teach that mindset and skill set, but do it in a way that lets the students, the teachers see a real accomplishment. And so we're really excited about this project.
One thing I learned is that there is a lot of planning that comes into something as creative as this, because there's research you had to do, you had to buy different materials, and you have to organize specific dates where everyone can come. You also learn that it's a lot of fun working together, even if it's sweaty, even if it's hot, it's a lot of fun getting your hands a little dirty just to feel united into working in a great project. We don't want people to just be in a classroom when it is Earth Club. We want you to feel the earth, to see the earth. And it is a great opportunity to go outside once in a while, feel the sunlight, not be cramped inside so much.
When the West Houston Institute opened in 2018, we had already started working with the Alief Early College that was on this campus to collaborate on an original project and a new program called Ideas Academy. And so Ideas Academy stands for Innovation, Design, and Entrepreneurship in the Arts and Sciences. The WHI was founded to be able to offer students and faculty and staff a new kind of educational experience where we gave them experiences outside of the classroom to be able to develop their creativity, to learn how to work together on a problem, to come up with an original solution, and then to actually make it.
We were able to participate in big projects such as this, and we're able to get more exposure, not only to like learning about stuff like this, but getting more help from even West Houston Institute. We're being provided with college opportunities as well. And I think that's such a fantastic opportunity, not only for our benefit, but for our future in terms of college and career-wise as well.
When we were developing the plan for the West Houston Institute, the leadership found that there was something new happening outside of education, where technology was driving a change in the way people work and live, and that they needed new mindsets and skill sets to adapt to that. And so the WHI, all of our programming was organized around that idea that we needed to provide students with a new mindset and skill set to be able to jump in and address the problems that they saw in the world and take advantage of opportunities that presented themselves.
I was the head of the group that researched all about the herbs, and we were researching herbs that help repel harmful insects and animals that we don't want eating up with the garden and ruining the garden for everyone who wants to come and relax. I learned just how many different herbs have this smell or these pheromones that repel away insects. I was not aware of that before. I also learned that many of these herbs are compatible and they work together with each other.
Originally, I myself was the program director for Ideas Academy, and it was me with a group of students every year. To grow the program, we were able to seek out and get generous funding from Citco. And with that, we were able to actually begin to work with educators, and that allowed us to scale because now we were working with wonderful educators like Dr. Chen, who collaborated with us, with her students on this project, but we also worked with 9 other educators this year in Alief ISD. And so it's enabling us to be able to work with them, to help them to develop their own kind of mindset shift in their teaching and learning, and then to come up with ways to bring that to their classroom with their students. And then with our funding, we're able to do real projects with the students and the teachers.
I was able to really listen to the educators, meet their students and listen to what's important to them and resource them with not only kind of the listening ear, but some maker tools and resources and supplies so that they were able to elevate these ideas that they had and kind of bring them to life. So it went from a PowerPoint and a drawing on a page to kind of what you see before you. They were able to really see their idea turn into reality.
In chemistry, I want a student to have some real world experience. So when you learn some chemicals, I want them to know where can you find a chemical from. A lot of herbs have a lot of chemicals, which is they can study for it and relate to what they learn in the class. They did all the research on different types of herbs, which is good in Houston area, and they studied what is used for applications. They're very excited for this project.
We had to learn about the pH levels in the water and see how it affected the plants that you see right here. I think it's lavender, and the lily pads, so that we can learn how best it grew with the other plants. And I think air quality, the air, like CO, like carbon dioxide and oxygen, we had to learn which plants could take in which air, so that and find out which herbs were best to place in the garden so that they could grow to their best potential. I got to learn more about herbs. I really didn't know much about basil and lemongrass and such, other than, oh, it was an herb and that can be used for cooking. But now I can see like the benefits it has and how best it grows. And I know about the environment thanks to the efforts of the other officers and their teams. I also learned how about the construction method, about different construction methods, and how, and even when this waterfall was constructed, I learned about the different methods that they used to construct it as well. It was really surprising to me how they were able to cut for the pond filter. They cut a thing through the stone, the bottom layer of the stones, and were able to bring it up to here. And that was always really fascinated me, because I've seen water features like this before, and I always thought, how do they bring the water from there to there? Is it like an endless water source? And then I realized, oh, it's not endless. It's just this really big water source is just being reincorporated and recycled through this water filter right here.
One way this can relate to how we're learning in chemistry is like pH balance. So there's pH balances in both water and soil. And so different plants, whether it be in water or in the soil, will need different pH levels in order to thrive. pH will go on a scale from 1 to 10, and so it's basically from most acidic, neutral, and then most basic. In order to be able to sustain a healthy environment, we have to make sure that all the pH will stay in the neutral zone, as this is the most viable for all sorts of plant and animal growth. In the project, I was head of the design team. So as the design team, I was in charge of making the fundamental blueprints for the overall design. In fact, we went through a lot of blueprints before we got to our final design, as you see here. So, for instance, our initial design was to make a spiral kind of garden without the waterfall. However, we decided to add the waterfall as we found it to be an innovative source of an active moving part in which we could utilize solar energy in which so we can power the waterfall so it can support different types of life, including like fish life, like marine animals, and all sorts of things like that. Throughout the whole process, the most difficult part we had was making the bog pond itself. This is because when we were digging up the dirt, a lot of it was clay. And as you know, clay is really tough to dig through, and so it was not an easy process trying to just pull it all out. Moreover, we also had to take a lot of effort and manpower in order to fully clean up the original pond liner, and even then it broke eventually, so we had to also replace that too. But of course, eventually we prevailed, and as you can see here, it's running very beautifully with all the energy right now from the sun.
Partnership is important because if we've learned anything in the last few years, it's that we're all connected. What happens in one part of the pathway, it gets reflected in the next part of the pathway. And so, especially working with the early college, these are a unique set of students because they're in college classes with other college students, but they're also like 15, 16, 17, so they've got all that enthusiasm of being young and kind of, wanting to, do great things, but they've also have a college-trained brain, so they're ready to take on big problems and work together to do that. They're very mature, and just we always have a good outcome with them.
The way that I represent Herb Club is as an amazing opportunity to be able to connect further with your community as well as help the environment. In our current day, our environment will greatly affect us. As you can see by global climate change, this will not only affect just how we are today, but also like weather patterns and all sorts of other things. And this will directly affect us. As you know, Houston already has a very bipolar kind of weather pattern, and so this will only worsen with the increase of climate change and pollution in our environment. Moreover, it also gives us a lot of time to be able to collaborate and communicate with other people within our society. Whenever I go to plant trees, I always meet a bunch of different faces from all walks of life, all there to help support one same cause.
I really love that water fountain. It would be so soothing to have that in my backyard. I'll have to see if anyone is interested in helping me build it. It can't hurt to ask, Well, anyways, there is one more short segment to go. It is about back to the Foodture. I said Foodture, not future, Foodture. So stay with us.
When I grow up, I want to work at a school so I can be a teacher.
From classroom to career, we're with you every step. Register for real-world education at hccs.edu.
Welcome back to Innovation in Education. I'm Dr. Tony Rayos Sutherland. We get to go back to the Foodture at HCC. It's an annual event here at our central campus, and we have Dr. Nazanin Hebel, a biology professor here at HCC, to talk to us about this event. Welcome to the show, Dr. Hebel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us, what is Back to the Foodture? Foodture. Back to the Foodture. What is it? How? Why it got started?
First, the choice of name was not mine. At the time, Dr. John Swan named it, so it stuck. It was kind of a witty name that they chose. It all started with me at our library, or Learning Commons, at West Houston Institute, talking with Jordan Carswell and the librarians. And we were talking about food and cookies and cookie mold and 3D printing and things like that. And the idea got in my head, what if we have an interdisciplinary or a cross-discipline, if you will, project? Because at the time we were talking about how we need to basically reach out to other departments. We came up with the idea that combined those cooking shows that, teams go against each other, where, not only they cook, but, and they tell you how to, but they also show behind the scenes, like where are the factories, what they do, where the food comes. And so we combined them together. We came up with the idea of having 2 to 3 teams each semester, where students from different disciplines, they come up with a project where the culinary or pastry students dictate what the food is. They will be the ones cooking or baking on camera, and the others will discuss the other concepts. For example, let's take French crepe. And what the students in the culinary or pastry will do is to show on video how they're doing it. And let's say they pick up flour, and that's where the biology student chimes in and says, oh, by the way, flour has gluten. Gluten has caused allergies in some people, and discuss that. And then when they put it in the oven, chemistry student, would talk about the fermentation process that's happening in the oven at the time. And the history student can talk about the historical background. It's basically teamwork, but they compete and they get medals.
This is a great experience for students. They get to learn from different disciplines. They get to learn from each other. And it's fun.
It is. A lot of them want to come back and do it again.
Great. Well, listen, we are going to look forward to when this happens again, and we'll tell everybody about it so they can be prepared. But thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for now. But let's take a sneak peek into what we'll talk about on our next show. The Ewan Family Endowed Chair for Teaching and Learning Innovation and Excellence Award Scholarship is awarded to faculty and support staff who want to make a difference in higher education. We will check out some of the recipients of the projects that they created and some of their innovative ways of helping students learn. Now, until then, keep looking forward and press on in whatever you're doing, and make it a priority to help make this world a better place for all. That's what innovation in education is all about. See you next time.